Cricket World Cup kicked off in India today with England taking on New Zealand in the opening match. The event, of course, kicking off as cricketing bodies grapple over the format of the game in the future, with some arguing that one-day internationals are the way to go, while others simply say it's too long. For more, we can go across to Sarah Jacobs standing by in New Delhi. Sarah, great to see you. All eyes of the cricketing world will be on India just a month after the country hosted G20 leaders.
That's right, Yano. India has barely recovered from hosting the G20, and we're in the limelight again as the Cricket World Cup kicks off as we speak, with England going up against New Zealand in the opening match at the newly built 130,000-seat auditorium named after the sitting Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Of course, hosting a World Cup means millions of dollars in domestic and global sponsorship flowing into India, and it is quite the coup. It is a feather in the cap for the government, given that India is in an election year and India is hosting this World Cup event, World Championships for the first time in 12 years. That's a decade in which the BCCI, that is the body that governs the game of cricket in India, has become one of the richest sporting bodies in the world. But India hosting the World Cup is not without its controversies. This is an election year, so nothing can avoid being seen through a political lens. The Modi Stadium in the Prime Minister's home state of Gujarat, which is also the state where he stands for election, it's hosting the cream of the matches scheduled for the World Cup. The opening, the closing games, the marquee match, that's the India versus Pakistan match, will also be played at the Narendra Modi Stadium. And there are leaders from the opposition parties of two states at least, Kerala and Punjab, for example, have asked why their states, those are states governed by opposition parties, have been left out. And cricket, as you know, is like a religion in India, and it's the most popular sport, the sport followed most by Indians. And so there's a lot of political capital to be gained here, especially in an election year.
Pakistan is participating, and of course the India-Pakistan match will be one of the main matches to watch if you're in India. But Pakistan's participation didn't come without its controversy, given that the players were issued visas to India at the very last minute.
Well, this is going to be the first time in 7 years that India and Pakistan, conventionally seen as arch enemies, political foes, this will be the first time that they're playing each other on Indian soil. This is, of course, following that attack, the Mumbai attacks, the Pakistani terror attack in Mumbai in 2008. Pakistan has not played in any bilateral series on Indian soil since 2013. There's no Pakistani player in the very popular IPL franchise. Nobody has fielded or bought a Pakistani player. So really, this game in Ahmedabad on the 14th, that's going to be this enclosure of all eyes. And you're right. That said, the Pakistani team almost didn't make it. They were inexplicably not issued a visa just until 2 days before the games. And there's been no explanation for this either by the BCCI or the ICC. And of course, remember, this is a critical match, a crucial match. India's had troubles in the past when it comes to India-Pak games. The previous match, when Pakistan defeated India in a game in 2021, there were Kashmiri students who were horrifically attacked by right-wing extremist Hindu groups. You had an Indian cricketer who was mercilessly trolled on social media by these right-wing Hindu groups and its members. And the government really was criticized for not being seen as doing anything to prevent all of this. And given that this is an election year, there's really no incentive to extend an olive branch, because the core voter, the core BJP voter, tends to get excited to vote because of anti-Pakistani rhetoric. That said, I must say that the Pakistani team was given a very warm welcome when they arrived in India, because perhaps the true cricket lover in India understands that politics must be kept away from the game.
Cricket, as you said, is a religion in India. I remember you don't even need to watch the match in your apartment in Bombay to know what's going on, because everyone around you is literally watching it and you can hear it. Thank you very much for that, Sarah. Sarah Jacob reporting there from New Delhi.